All right, it's official. This is an announcement. The boys, Builders Build, are doing the TikTok thing. This is led and inspired by Mr. Oren Schabel. I am following myself, Colin Lanforce. I'm following In the Tails, and then James, up to this point, kind of being a little bitch about it. But I think he's coming for it as well. Oren, what's the scoop? Why are we here? Why are we here?
Because there's a generational opportunity where there's a shift between audience from existing social media to a new social media platforms. And this platform was actually designed to be able to scale because they want people to follow you. They want to engage with your content. They're not gating that to make money yet. And if you are not on there yet, you can still be early because we can be early right now. And this platform moves the zeitgeist like none others. And we're going to get on it. And we're going to live it. We're going to become personalities. It's going to help expand the personal brands, build our businesses, understand the knowledge of what's happening in the world, and prepare us to continue forward into the future.
I think I'm fired up about it. Two reasons. One is there is something to be grabbed here. And if you pursue it, you can grab it, is kind of my take. And then two, I'm like starting from zero. I'm now at 200 followers. And it's just it's a grind. I'm getting the shit beaten out of me. I'm not very good at it. And that's refreshing every now and then. I'm here for it. I'm here for the fight.
What I like about it is how quick you can get into like your specific world. Like if it pushes the media out, people consume so much media. If you're putting ideas out there and you're interacting consistently, you can get in front of whatever kind of target niche that you want. And then when you interact with it and they interact with you, it all kind of continues to spiral. So for instance, someone likes one of your videos, the algorithm shows you more of their videos. Then you follow them and they follow you. Then you're on the friends tab. You're seeing all of each other's videos. And so you can basically get this saturation within a niche in this like escalated speed way that is like super fascinating to me. James, what's your plan for the platform?
So what's interesting is that I think one of the biggest regrets I have was so I knew TikTok when it was Musical.ly, and I had friends who were running a Musical.ly agency. And this Musical.ly agency was just pumping artists. They were like, it was crazy. TikTok originally was Musical.ly, and the only way it worked was only lip syncing songs. That's all it was. And it was like kids. And I don't mean kids like 17, 18, 19. I mean kids like 10, 9, 11, stuff like that, right? Like, and so that was really weird, but there was this weird ability where they were like being able to pump artists and get them tons of plays, like tons and tons and tons and tons of plays. So I remember I was running social for this singer a while back, and he was like looking into Musical.ly as a growth channel. So one of the biggest mistakes I made was like seeing this right in front of me at its inception and sleeping on it. I think the reason that Twitter works for me is because it's easy quips from the hip, is what I like to say about Twitter most of the time. Some people find that hard. Obviously, for the three of us, it's easier. But my plan with TikTok is to start with taking my thread, to take what's really easy, or at least I think exciting for me about TikTok. And one thing I think Colin has not done, and I haven't seen you do a ton of, Oren, is like I have a vast library of content that I know is viral content, right? And so although Colin has his second video got 200,000 views or something, the first thing I'm going to do is I think build up this wall of content. That's a big thing you pushed hard on in the beginning, Oren, was like just so that when people come, there's 30, 40 videos. I think that's a real signal for a follow, is not that this person is only doing one ever, but this person is going to consistently put out content, and they do lots of great content. But so I'm going to fill it up with a lot of sort of filler content to stuff there. And then I'm going to take my most viral tweets and repurpose them into TikToks that they're repurposed into threads, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that's probably any creator that is prolific on a singular channel. If they want to expand to different channels, the easiest lift and highest leverage thing they can do is take what is already working on one channel and repurpose it for another channel. And you're going to have a 10 times easier time than totally started from scratch. So that's sort of my plan.
And I would harp on, repurpose may not be the word. I think it is, I don't know what the word is, but using the app natively, right? Like actually creating in the app for the platform, I think is important. So with the source being, for example, a thread, it is like making a video that is in the vein of the thread, not copy pasta. Obviously going text to video doesn't work in that context, but Yeah, Oren, I think is deepest in this. What do you got, Oren?
Yeah.
Well, I do think it's funny. What I think a lot of the gurus tell you is wrong, because I think I got into this like listening to the gurus, being like Gary Vee, being like make 7 videos a day, or whoever that is. And, like a lot of that was inspirational. It's good to get on the platform, but then a lot of the advice was bad, because to the point of the repurposing, like that's initially what I started. It's like, man, I need to make content that it works on Twitter, and I can make it my Instagram reel, my YouTube short, and my TikTok, and all be the same. And that's not like that just didn't work. Like frankly, I put out a bunch of content like that, and it didn't hit. What did hit was when I leaned into the platform in TikTok itself and was like, I'm going to use the full length of time available. I'm going to use the effects that are native in the platform. I mean, it's too long for me to put on reels. It's too long for me to put on shorts. I'm using trending audio that's only in TikTok. I'm developing personality and using tropes that are known in TikTok. And that's when I've gotten like the very small amount of traction that I have. And I think that was eye-opening to me, because I've always been trying to repurpose and do the most with the least. But then really is like designing something really specific for Twitter and really specific for TikTok is what's working. And I'm now looking at it like, okay, I'm ignoring all other platforms until I feel like I'm in a good groove there. And I've gotten to a groove on Twitter. I think I can get into one on TikTok. And then it's going to be a completely different formula for these other platforms if and when you want to engage with them. But the biggest reason that I went in on this is that I just don't want all my traction to my email list
for
ultimately trying to build to be locked into Twitter.
Yeah, you're too pretty, good looking for
too
just
pretty
Twitter.
for Twitter.
Too pretty for Twitter.
Also, when I just knew like the charisma doesn't shine through. Twitter is a platform for people who don't want to be seen; they just want to be heard. And I want to be both seen and heard.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah,
well,
so-
I think interesting.
so
No, please, Colin, go.
I think I was watching Oren get the ball rolling on this, and honestly was like intimidated by the prospect of like, okay, I have to cut video on my real camera, and then I need to, maybe my first couple I'll chop together and edit because I can do that. But then if I want to actually do this, I got to get a workflow with editors and all this stuff. And I was like, frankly, like it's not going to happen. Like maybe later it's not going to happen. And then, Oren had his first little breakthroughs, just pretty much saying fuck that and jumping on the app and taking green screen
Ironically,
videos.
once I started paying for the edited content and then realized, oh, that's not the way.
Right, right. And honestly, like as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, I can try and figure that out. And then very quickly it was like, holy shit, like you're learning this entire new interface, which is very good, but it's just absolutely vast, and just like slogging through learning this app. But I think very, very quickly, I'm like 4 or 5 days into it, but very, very quickly you start to figure these things out. And then all of a sudden, a quick trope on Twitter, like is not that much different from a quick video thrown into TikTok. Sure, maybe it's more like 25 minutes when you take into account a little bit of editing and some titles, but I'm not very far away from that being the case. And I think that to Oren's point, can be like incredibly powerful for getting eyeballs, getting attention, getting in the zeitgeist, and just getting in the mix in this whole new world.
It's funny. I work with kind of big creators during the day, and that was really important for some of this process too, just seeing how they do it. Because I kept trying to have workflow hacks, like how can I get this done and just on Sunday, and then have it work throughout the week. I keep trying to save my time, but then when you see these people that take it seriously, you realize it's just part of their life. They just do it as part of their day. I think that's a crucial thing to understand.
Yeah, I mean I think that's me with Twitter, right? I mean it is literally, and I think that it's hard to conceptualize. I remember you saying this to me at one point, Oren, and you were like, oh, I see how you spend 2 to 3 hours a day on Twitter. And it's because I don't like, it's hard for me to, if I was just like, oh, I'm going to spend an hour scheduling tweets and writing tweets. Like obviously recently I had a bit of a crappy time with Twitter. But in general, like part of, I think the reason that my account was just growing every day, no matter what, without fail, was I was like actually really engaged and like really hitting from the hip with what I thought at the moment. Obviously, there was some sort of thought process going into some of it, but some of it was just me really actually being a real user of the app, right? And so when I think, interestingly, great point you guys are making, and I'm glad it sort of counters a little bit of what my initial thought was about repurposing, because I think that repurposing should be a function of if you only have time to go in on one channel. Of course, if you can find someone to repurpose for you for almost nothing and push on other channels, then don't miss out on having content on those other channels. But I think to Oren's point and what you've realized, Colin, about leaning into what the app is asking for is that I think when I go to market with it is to not just try and take my threads and tweets and turn them into TikToks, but understand that the ethos of what that thread is about is something that it resonates with people. And then how do I make that completely native to the platform and completely, it may come across as totally different, but like a website flip, for example, conceptually, it doesn't have to be structured the way the thread is, but can be structured in the way that TikToks are structured.
Yeah,
so that's
I think you can port it over, because that was one of my initial thoughts too. And I'm sitting here like, oh shit, what am I going to do? It's like, all right, I have all these threads, but if as someone who's trying to learn it, if I was like, okay, I did today, now I have to do tomorrow, and the video that I have to do tomorrow in order to get a video up tomorrow is this elaborate, like 20 clip, 20 screenshot video, like that's an absolute slog. And for me, like that will come. But in the meantime, I just need to keep pushing through. Like, I think it's a really interesting platform for just experimenting. I posted 2 today. One of them was just like completely off the cuff. Let's see if this works at all. It didn't work, but it worked better than the actual like edited video that I had posted in the morning, because I didn't do XYZ on that. And just the act of learning this thing has been like a really fun experience. Just 'cause I haven't learned anything this intense this quickly in quite a while. I don't know. It's fun. It's a whole new world over there. That's for sure. And they reward using the app.
Yeah. I think it's preparing us to be able to, like, if you want to be able to understand how media moves in the present day, I feel like you have to be so hands-on with it now. Because like if you're not actually creating content on TikTok, it's extremely hard to understand how TikTok works. And this is something I realized just by fact of like I'm managing people that manage accounts on social media, and I'm realizing I'm trying to make decisions for them. And I don't understand how the app works. And I feel like since everything is becoming so inherently social now, that like we have to understand that. It's our responsibility as kind of entrepreneurs and marketers to at least have a solid understanding of it. Especially because whatever happens here, it's going to be another social media app. We're only getting older. Staying in touch with that, it's going to allow us to understand how the internet moves, which is going to serve us for the rest of our lives.
Totally. I would say that I was like a light consumer on TikTok. I would have told you that I totally understood TikTok. My wife has had several videos like blow up fairly big for her business on TikTok. Like I was very well versed. I was a 0 out of 100 until 4 or 5 days ago when I was like, fuck this. I'm gonna make a video on TikTok. Right. I was a 0. I would have told you that I like understood it and knew it. Like to Oren's point, you have to just get in the game. The other thing that I want to add here is I completely lost my train of thought.
Well,
nothing.
I'll hop in there. Don't worry. I think that the other thing to think about, I almost lost my train of thought, is what I saw Alex Garcia post the other day, which is a really fascinating thing to really think about. Conceptually, is this, God, I'm just saying all these fucking hot words without saying anything, is that they are changing the description. They are changing the description length for TikToks to something like 2,000 characters. And I think, Colin, you mentioned to me there's hyperlinking certain words and stuff, which means that.
Yeah,
did you say
like
that?
SEO is like kind of the new, if you get into the space of like all the creators that are doing like how to do TikTok type content, they're all like nonstop talking about SEO right now. And you got hyperlinking that's happening automatically in descriptions. They just increased the description character
and Google's
count
weighting it higher now in search. If TikToks are linked to LinkedIn TikToks, that's something I'm doing with my blog is I'm now having the TikToks embedded as articles and articles written about them. And it's like, there's a whole cottage industry of the internet is changing around this. And it's not just on the platform. It's how other platforms interact with it too, which is fascinating.
Yeah. I think that, and
what I was going to say,
please, if you remember, please go for it. I was going to make something up.
Thank you. Isn't that what we're all always doing? What I was going to say is, as you guys know, especially as we figure out workflows to, do things like get a blog post live from a video or from this podcast. I've always been a big proponent of you can get help with reformatting things. Filling things in, all this kind of stuff, but the sauce has to come from me. Has to come from Oren. Has to come from James. You cannot replicate the sauce, and I think that TikTok is probably the realest example of that. You can take a TikTok and probably post on Instagram Reels and do okay with that. Like, you have to bring the sauce to TikTok and apply it to TikTok. And maybe some of what you're doing there is uploading stuff from other platforms, but contextualizing it all the way into TikTok. But you got to bring the sauce on everything. But
and that's what's funny
on this.
Is I actually had someone reach out to me who because I was making these TikToks that weren't going super well, and their literal advice was just like, "Hey, you need to be hotter." you need to slow down and you need to talk that talk. And I was like, literally, and
then the next video popped.
Yeah, literally. But like, yeah, for me, I was like, oh, got it.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting how aesthetically driven it is, which is another interesting point to really think about, in which, you know, I think there's plenty of handsome kings on Twitter. You know, the three of them are right here. But I do think there's a really interesting point about
this group. We're heavily weighted. Yeah.
We're heavily weighted in the handsome quadrants of Twitter. I think, though, what's interesting is that there's a whole industry now built around ghostwriting, right? And that's obviously a pretty powerful thing for a lot of people. How do you ghost TikTok? You don't, right? I think you can do theme pages. I think that there's probably a major opportunity if you can get to escape velocity of the size of the brand or page you're working with, in which you can pay for UGC equivalents, right? You might be able to put together a video for $30 from a creator.
Well, actually, I think there's a lot of people who are doing that, who are outsourcing UGC for both like on their concepts or on their brands, and also who are doing like robot voice overlays. I think there's a bunch of strategies around that, but we just got to get, you know, that's probably another.
Well, as a whole,
probably another.
I think because I want to think about it in reference to the site I just bought, right? I think there's clearly an opportunity there. We could definitely dive into that because, you know, I mean, off pod.
Yeah, well, also, I mean, if you had 5 or 6 creators contributing to something like that, plus you're doing robot voice videos and match screens, like there's a whole thing to build there. But we will do that, and we will take it to IPO on the next Builders Build.